back with another Zales theory, and of course we have to give you a theory that might be a little truth in it. Might get in trouble. Might be a little dangerous. They might tell you to take it down. But I want to show love to the Caspian Report. We are not going to watch the whole video. They are 1.3 million subscribers. We're just going to interact to certain parts of it. We're going to interact with certain parts of it just so you can get the basis of what's going on. Basically what the story is, quick rundown, is that the French basically financially own 14 countries in Africa. They own all the ports. They own all of that. And they forced them to use their money and their currency, even though, as we're going to see, they look completely different. He's going to explain it much better than me. But at the end of the day, what they are doing is simply having a safeguard in the African empire, in which makes them still somewhat of a superpower. They're not a superpower, but it makes them relevant. So we're going to go over how imperialism and colonialism is still around today on Zell's theory.
Yet they are part of the same scheme, a scheme that pegs both currencies to the euro, a rate determined by the French treasury. The issue at stake is the apex of French policymaking, the CFA franc. Using it, France controls the monetary sovereignty of 14 nations, making up nearly 200 million people. These countries include Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, and the Central African Republic. And while these nations have a seat at the United Nations and wave their independent flags, it is only the face of imperialism.
They are assumed independent countries. We're gonna see a little later. I'm gonna skip around the video. We're not gonna play the whole video. If you want to watch the whole video, go to Caspian Report. It's very interesting. We're only gonna skip around about 3 minutes of the video, but I just want y'all to get mostly the point of this video. I just want y'all to get his response to this.
That has changed. The conduct of business has largely remained the same. The big difference is that imperialism used to be spread through tanks. Nowadays, it comes through banks. Speaking Africa, with new power came new extrajudicial perks. Paris gained access to African labor and raw materials at sub-market prices, while finished goods were sold back to Africa at above-market prices. French neo-colonialism was so intrusive, so ruthless, so unique that it earned a name of its own, France Afrique. Follow its French counterpart at a rate of
This is after this. This is right here. I want to skip this part because this is directly after World War II and how they actually used it. Because most of the time it wouldn't be important, but they actually used it. So I'm going to go to after World War II and when they were trying to recover their economy and why it's important they have African style stuff going on.
Its colonies to adopt it. Initially, the CFA franc was pegged to its French counterpart at a rate of 1.7 to 1.
That's the one the Africans use.
In 1948, it was increased to 2 to 1. By overvaluing the CFA franc, Paris maintained its economic advantage while crushing Africa's export competitiveness.
That's what they do.
So in a way, France built its post-war recovery partially to a wealth transfer from Africa. Even so, the most effective forms of control are those that are invisible. Recognizing this in 1958, France hijacked authentic decolonization by installing local collaborators and granting them statehood. These collaborators became the custodians of France's neo-colonial empire by maintaining the Franc zone and French military bases. Only Guinea turned down the offer. Its leader...
Notice they turned it down. Hey, listen. Imperialism, when you turn stuff down, there's consequences.
Secretary declared that his people preferred being poor in freedom than rich in slavery. Guinea thus rejected the CFA franc,
Watch what they do to
seeking to develop its own currency. France felt it needed to make an example of Guinea, so it cut pensions to war veterans, dismantled Guinea's power grid, and then attempted to block its UN membership. France went as far as to induce hyperinflation by flooding the country with counterfeit bills.
That's what they do.
All the while funding armed anti-government resistance.
Funding
it got pretty crazy.
Don't even see somebody
the plan ultimately failed to dislodge Secretary, but Guinea's economy never fully recovered. Likewise, when Togo had a change of heart and sought to ditch the CFA franc, France made another example, this time without loose ends. Togo's leader, Sylvanus Olympio, was assassinated in January 1963. French involvement is suspected, but
we don't do speculation over on it. I mean, or I'll be there. We don't do speculation on none of that. But one thing we will do, we will talk about how it affect the banks. That's one thing we will talk about, though. Let's talk about some business side. Why it's so effective.
This benefit as much as the French treasury. More specifically, France doesn't need to draw on its foreign exchange reserves for African imports. Dozens of French multinationals are present in Africa, including Total Energies, Areva, and Vinci. Africa also grants France access to strategic resources like uranium, which is indispensable for France's nuclear energy sector, meeting 3/4 of French energy needs. Meanwhile, Gabon is a source of crude oil, Mauritania delivers iron ore, while Togo and Benin provide agricultural commodities. Additionally, the icing on the cake, French national Vincent Bolloré owns most of West Africa's.
They own all the resources. These countries can be prosperous, but if France need resources, they take it because they own it.
Major ports. It is thus not by incident that former French President Jacques Chirac once stated that much of the money in French banks comes precisely from exploiting Africa, and that France would lose its global standing without its African empire.
Let's end it off that. Without African empire, they would lose their standing in the world. Listen, this is how colonialism works. I actually hit the mic, so I hope it didn't buzz in y'all ear. If not, I'm gonna try to take it out. But that's what happens. Imperialism, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. If y'all want to know what imperialism looks like, the country wouldn't be great without its African influences. We own the ports, we own the resources, and if our country ever goes in trouble, we just take it. That's what happens, right? That's what happened in the businesses. Now, I did a video earlier. That's what happened in businesses. Oh, we don't have the resources. We'll just call for bankruptcy and then get bailed out because we're too big to fail. We're interconnected with the world. If we fail, we just take it from the African countries. Why? Because the rest of the world needs us. We're not a superpower, but we're a power. If I'm France, that's the reason they justify it. They justify the bad things they do. They justify their ruling of the countries and all this other thing. They justify it through doing these means and all this stuff. And I just want y'all to understand, this is what happened in the world. 14 countries are run by France. So if you claim I'm going over there to be free, are you? Or are you going to a country that whenever colonialization needs it, they can just take it? I just want to update y'all that on a Zell theory. I appreciate y'all. It's not even really a theory, but shout out to Biggie Boss for sending me that video, letting me know the dark side of it. And by the way, shout out to Caspian Report. Watch the whole thing. It's scarier, and I just didn't want to go over that. That's just something I want to talk about on this show. But the whole thing and how crazy it is, how much they control this country, I just want the big part, is absolutely insane. So go check out that video. Link will be in the description. It is insane. I didn't even go over all of it. I just go over the part that's kind of important to us. And what it looks like is colonialization, but it's deep. I appreciate y'all. Back to y'all.